Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I'm your host Utkarsh Shukla and today we have Aparna with us. Aparna, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Utkarsh, for having me here.
So let's start with our very basic question. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
Thank you. Thank you for asking this one of a basic question because this is going to set the context for today's conversation of who I am. The world knows me as Aparna Mishra. I professionally work as an area sales director for one of the top IT company in India. And I so far it's a 16 plus year of a diverse experience journey which come across programming, finance, IT sales, digital transformation, whatnot. The blessing has been where the different industries like automotive, BS5, edtechs have been completed by me. The most important thing is I right now work for global capability centers relationships, which help me understand the complex relationship navigatives. And yes, the amazing part is, if you are genuinely asking me who I am, I started my degree or a work as a programmer. And today, with a master's degree in finance, I eventually migrated to sales. So, alongside my corporate journey, I am a student of a marketing PhD, which is being pursued from one of our government institution of India, which is very reputed. And most importantly, that I am currently in a journey of creating something very amazing for my own self called Unmute Talks. This is a safe space for the people who wanna feel heard, who wanna feel visible, and yes, to top up all of this, I'm a blessed mother of two. So this is about me.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think you talked about from professional to personal things as well. So coming to the professional part, you mentioned like you have a great year of experience from programmer and now into sales, right? Can you just enlighten us or take us through this journey, like why this shift happened and what was your main motive behind it?
I started my journey from 2004. So back then in 2004, the life was very different than how we see today. And if I talk about 2004, it's more than 20 years, right? Close to 21 year of a journey. And I entered Delhi with a strong passion of becoming a programmer, which every software developer usually have, right? I'll become this, I'll do this, and I'll do that. I was not different from all of them, but suddenly life changed because during the whole journey process, I became a part of one deal where I realized that only becoming a programmer is not something that I chase in. I with this whole journey of one of a very strategic deal where my inputs, my conversation with the client gave me a confidence that I have something else that I should pursue, and that's what pushed me towards my masters. And juggling the whole deal with my motherhood gave me a confidence that it's not going to be that tough. You just have to believe in your own senses and just go for it. So that was a one point that helped me understand that offering something which is not exactly based on your degree can be also a possibility. So that's where the conversation from a software to a sales started. The second moment come into a life where, as I already mentioned, back in those days, there was nothing called bring females to the technology, bring females to the world. And I really miss that. Why I was not a part of that kind of a world. So when I had to come back to this journey, I had to really choose something which was different because the technology was evolving so fast that we could not even catch up. If a year of gap in the, I would not say gap, but year of investing your time with your, the younger ones will not be that easier. And it makes it so tough that going back to your work will be very challenging. So I came up with an idea of, taking care of the business side instead of just investing my thought process. And the business side was little auto in my brain because I was somehow designed to take this up. So with one of the solution that I offered to one of my friends during an official conversation, that clicked very well, and they gave me a position of a PM where I had to actually take a whole care of that profile and take the whole project to my client. And conversation around FinOps was very deep technical because coming from a finance background gave me again a next edge. that okay, I can again choose from programming to finance and a business conversation. Then leading and becoming a critical part of that discussion again boosted my confidence that okay, sales is not going to be that tough. It's just you have to keep learning. And the juggle of motherhood was still there. But then the confidence kept boosting. And then the unmute talks. So these journey helped me understand that sales is something which is I am not choosing. It's somehow one or the other way. It is coming my way. Even if I'm having a very dark passion about my development stuff, but sales was coming on my way. So I somehow chose it. So that's how the navigation happened. I was just listening to my heart, to my instinct.
That's really nice to know. And talking about sales right now, so what do you think are the biggest challenges when it comes to the sales, especially in this tech world, or not tech world, but yeah, in the industry
In
that we
general.
are in?
So when you talk about a general challenges, I think every job would have certain kind of a challenges, and that's what keep it going. But you talk about a very specific becoming sales, you really have to understand that what is the ask of the organization is, because we sell everything, almost everything in our regular life. You have to sell your time to your family also sometime, that okay, I am juggling here, give me some time, we'll do this next week. So the challenges of sales are everywhere in the regular life. And when we talk about the technology world, the non technology world, understanding what exactly is the ask is very important. A lot of time we understand that okay, if I'll say this thing, I'll inform the client about this thing, I am having so much of heavy bouquet in my hand that I can offer, one or the other thing will be sold. That doesn't work. The formula is very simple. Please go and listen what exactly is the pain area. You go and talk. And a lot of time a single meeting never help you understand what is the pain area, because client themselves are juggling to understand that what is the pain is. A lot of time they feel that having a right person joining a team is their pain, but that's not the case. A lot of time they don't even understand that a single person who's handling a single technology is something which is not making a sense. They have to divide it into a two different zones, and the flow has to be from one to another. So that kind of conversation where you propose certain things, looking at the experience that you having and understanding their pain area, becomes a real critical conversation around sales. Listening is the foremost key. You may not want to listen because salespeople have usually a behavior of talking.
Yeah.
You can talk, you can propose, but the initial has to be listening. The deep listening will help you. So the challenge is people whosoever comes need to understand that what they are listening and registering in their mind has to match what you're offering. You have to come back with a context that okay, if the person is talking about this, my this product or this kind of service will help you understand the whole nuances of the offerings, and you can always come back that this is the product I can support you, this is the area I can support you, and your pain will be probably deepen, not exactly a final solution, but you'll come to an area. So the challenge is not listening to a right and starting to offer. That's the big challenge of sales is.
Correct. And you mentioned about like dealing with clients, and every client have their own requirements. Listening to them is one of the key thing, right? But sometimes things happens like client does not want to expand their businesses with a particular say firm, right? Or say with particular say you only, right? And in this case, like what should be the ideal scenario for anyone watching? How they should deal in such situations?
So if you're saying that client want, I mean, if I'm trying to reiterate the question that you have asked me, that if they're planning to expand and if they don't have a budget which is very strong, that's what you want to ask me?
No, no, I'm saying if a client is not looking forward to expand with you, in that
So,
case, how you feel?
I understand that's become very painful, but I understand if they don't want to expand with us, it is very simple that we have done something which is not making sense. I mean, in the past, in the current scenario, we are not able to bring a value. There are only three reasons when a client don't want to work with you that I have evaluated in my journey. The fun is definitely they don't have a requirement, they don't have a budget in place, and no point expanding with you. So probably they need some time to evaluate, so understand whether they have budget, they really need it, or it's you who are pushing just because you have some kpps aligned to you. The second challenge or reasoning of person or a client cannot be aligning with you is you're not bringing to the table what exactly they want. So if a client is BSFI and I'm offering something which is very much irrelevant, or I'm not coming from a background and I don't understand what kind of requirements they can have, I'm not talking their jargons and language, they may feel I'm wasting my time. I already have enough vendors. Why do I have to involve with this new partner? So please learn, read, understand before going to your client, and see what is actually a gap, where what are actually you're offering which is not making sense to them. The third, foremost, and clean important green signal or red signal could be they don't like you. People not liking you can have a multiple reasons, and it's a very silent biased. Trust me, it's a very silent bias. Nobody feels that they don't like you. Sometimes the kind of conversations you drive, they may not like the way it is. Sometimes you are too aggressive or too follow-up matter, they don't like it. Sometimes what you have done in the past, maybe the solution did not align and they have been given a bad shoot because of you could be a reason. Try and understand that what did not work. I mean, not 100% is necessary that you will get it, but at least go and deep dive what did not work in your favor. If you feel that you were not able to give the right solution, understand whether it was aligned, whether you understood correct. If it is not aligning 100%, I mean, the client would not like you. So they would not want to invest the time with you. That's the reason they're not planning to expand. So please understand and get your figures correct, which are the three out of which these three areas. Either it's a combination or it's an individual. But yes, these are the three major areas you are facing a challenge where a client don't want to align. So please get it clear.
Yeah, I think that's the best answer I have heard in a long time in order to how to know the client and what are the expectations from your end, right? And you mentioned one point, like sometimes client get biased as well, right? Because the first image that like everyone says, like the first impression is the last impression, right? Sometimes it becomes very difficult to change it, right? So suppose you are in this situation, right? Or I think you must have been in many times in your career, right? So how do you try to overcome this? Like,
You know, because time is an essence. So in a sales life, the process and quarters are very important.
Mhm.
So if the client genuinely says that they are not interested in working with you, give them some time. I understand that salespeople usually work account wise, and if the current account says I don't want to work with you, you're out of your bread butter. So there are only two ways to handle it. Go and sort this up front. Talk why you don't like. Nobody like you because you're not good with the face, bad with the face. Something is there which is not connecting, right? Go up front, get it clear. If it doesn't work still, please do not waste your time for some time. I mean, go because sales as a salesperson, if you go back and tell your leaders that I've been pursuing hard and it did not give me the result, the person don't like it, leave it. Go for the next one. The world is not ending here. They will get enough partners. You will get enough people to work for you. You just have to have a right kind of sense. At least for that time, give them a healing period. That cooling period is very important. It's like a relationship heating at a. Give them a clarity that okay, I understand you don't want to work with us right now. I give you that much of a time. I'll revert with this much, maybe in this much of time span. Give yourself a thinking process and we'll talk about that much. If you immediately keep pursuing na, a lot of times, one example, I have a cut. I am absolutely trying to ensure कि वो जल्दी ठीक हो जाए and applying it on a regular basis, and every day it is getting hurt. Better allow it to get dry. Once it is dry, you have a possibility of going back. So give a quarter of time, a cooling period of that much time. Should be if the genuinely you feel that a person is really, a lot of time it's not process, it's person. So अगर वो cooling period है, that person problem will be sorted. Either the person will have different projects where you will start getting aligned, or a person will have a little easy mind where you can say कि okay अभी अभी आप गुस्सा कम है, let us talk and understand मैंने क्या ठीक नहीं किया. If it is a process issue, please go back and look at your flaw. You have not followed the process that they wanted you to follow. I'll give it a very short story of my own project. We were into one of our best, uh, you know, one of the best client of India, and I was sitting in a table. I've cracked the deal. I bought one of a managed service project with them. The work started. Even the before we signed the project, the work started, because there are timelines one has to match, and legal and everything takes some time. So simultaneously, two parallel teams started working. We'd done the work to cut everything short. The compliances were taking place, the governance was taking place, everything was happening fine. After 4 5 months of a time, when the project was coming to an end, things were going fine, but somehow the client was not able to take it to the level and speed that we were going, and the challenges started coming up. Instead of the end of the project, the conflict started, where the client wanted to invest more without investing on the commercials, and because their managed services has certain amounts which are involved in it, they have to give a delivery. So an abrupt stop came into the picture, because it was a date stop, there was a hard shut, and then a never follow up came into the picture. So what I'm trying to tell you is, neither because it was a hard shut, I'm talking from the initials of my career. Neither I took a botheration to follow up that why this abrupt, a complete disruption of a system happened, why we could not continue. I never explained them that how we can handle this. They never came back and say that we are not happy, and we lost a lot of personal connection in between because of one small deal. The connection lost. I just talked to you about a cooling period. During my process, I learned that after a few months, I've gone back and asked, Kya hua? How we can mend this? They literally explained me, because initially they were not happy. They explained, they gave me the solution. We came back, talked to my leaders, we started working, and today we are doing good. What I'm trying to say, the immediate hurt of both did not give us a breaking point where we could actually reach to a next. You have to give a cooling point, you have to revisit it. But initially, you have to actually work on your process, because you have KPPs and numbers to meet. Sales is all about the
Mm.
current revenue and numbers.
Right.
So you have to handle both together.
Correct. And we have talked about like how to deal in such scenarios. So, but when you start dealing with a client, right, like at the initial phases, so what do you think are the main points that you should consider while pitching into a client? Because nowadays with AI, like most of the new people, they are using AI to create their presentations, and that human touch is missing someone somewhere, right? Not everyone, but yeah, it's now getting very very trendy these days. So, what do you think are the main point in order to connect with the client at the very beginning?
Peculiarly, Utkarsh, yeah, I mean, this is good because AI is the base. It is going to help us. And I'm a big fan of AI. I mean, let me say I'm a big advocate, because, a lot of people have a fear AI is going to replace this, that. So many things they feel it will replace. Trust me, it's not replacing anything. It's just adding some kind of value to us. And a lot of smart people are using it with that addition, whether to create their pitch decks, whether to understand about the nuances of the client's understanding, the requirements, so many things. And you talked about that. A lot of people are doing it. But that is not enough. For understanding any new client, what is really required is a human touch.
Mhm.
Somebody new, जो भी papers में लिखा हुआ है, anything in the world, the Google, the Wikipedia, this and that, AI can bring all the information in a single place. AI can help you understand that वो circle क्या है, जिसको आप, you don't have to revisit the theoretical part in a multiple alignment. That AI can help you. What AI cannot help you? What kind of interest that individual you are meeting is having. Even if you ask such kind of a questions, they will give you the information which is available online. But a lot of information you have to go and dig when you're meeting face to face. So when you're preparing a deck or anything is happening, that one single conversation where a smile, a laugh, a common conversations where a rapport has been built, trust me, I cannot do that.
Right.
And I am pretty sure any confident salespeople would have never felt that AI can replace me. I mean, I had never had a feeling of that word. AI is definitely a tool which is helping us make us more smarter, give us a time to think more about our client than the tech.
Mhm.
So those are things are happening. So what again? I'll try to give two important points before you are entering or trying to. For an example, if you have to take a two new logo, so what is the key is to ensure that you bring that logo into your account, and how would you identify it that it will make any sense? Whichever sector or a vertical you're working in, you have certain list always handy that these are the certain sectors or verticals I'm looking at. Have that handy, understand who's having what kind of challenges. AI will easily help you with that. I mean, yeah, I mean, understand the challenges. From those challenges, our LinkedIn's and various other tools are there to help you understand who are the correct people who are leading those areas or businesses. Their different posts, past posts will help you understand what are the areas they're hiring in, their pain points. Usually, if you know how to do a research, you automatically your brain start thinking in those areas. All those conversations will help you understand what kind of person or what kind of persona you're planning to meet. So, if anybody has to know Utkarsh, they know he's a wonderful person who like to talk to people. So he has certain kind of a passion being a developer. So would want to understand what kind of person you are talking to. So it's similar, reading the persona becomes very important. Once you read the persona, plan your things around it. Certain around technology, certain around person. The conversation cannot be only technology. Trust me, the salespeople cannot win the technology because for that you will need a subject matter expert. You'll have to take them next time for your meetings. So please, the key is very simple. Do your research correct with the support of AI and your brain, both. And second, foremost important thing, keep your context and conversation very realistic. Do not make it robotics. Robot cannot cry, help, fly, smile, laugh for you. So know the persona well and plan your conversations according. There are very serious people, they don't like people when you smile. So you have to really understand what kind of persona are they. And I've gone through it hard. I mean, I, being a very jolly person, I know what kind of control behavior one has to be when you meet such people. So two things are the key that I gave you.
And following up the same thing, like in order to know the persona, like how people behave, like it's totally depends on the psychology of the person, and you need to
True.
be strong enough to know that things, right? So
Absolutely.
if I ask you your advice in order to someone who wants to start in sales, right? So what are the like three advices or two, like anything you want to tell to them?
So what I've understood is nobody starts in sales.
Okay.
Sales, I mean, I whenever I interview people, ma'am, is there something in marketing? Ma'am, is there something in maybe in pre-sales? Ma'am, is there something in management or sales operation? Nobody wants to get into sales because I think number bother them a lot. But sales is a journey. Whenever you're starting in a sales, you just have to ensure that two, three pointers that you have to be very careful with. You should have a habit of reading and being in the current. You cannot sell something which was available 20 years back. Or even if, for that matter, in today's world, even a 3 years back technology, if you're talking, trust me, it's not going to make sense. So if you're coming or entering in a sales, which I genuinely feel people don't enter in a sales, it happens as a transition from one to another. So if you're doing it, if that transition is calling, if people are asking you that the next career progression that you're looking for yourself is can be a sales, or a lot of time now we get it as a calling also. That's it. It happens in my case. I automatically bumped into the conversations where I would suggest something and it come back as if okay, she can lead it. So if that is happening to you, it's a natural calling, natural situation. You have a flaws, you have a natural flowing behavior towards sales. So, with the first foremost importance is keep yourself updated with the latest information, technological, non-technological, the investment of the world which is going towards which area. The reading habit has to be very amazing. You need to be on top of the conversations. You cannot be selling again. I mean, 20-year-old anything which is not people asking. You're not selling anything which is antique. For that, people are in love. They come for an antique purchase. You don't have to sell antique, right? So one, please keep reading. The second thing that people in sales has to come up with, create a habit of listening a lot. Listen to your mentors, listen to your leaders, listen to the people who are giving you your KPPs, listen to the people that are telling you what exactly the ask is, because they would want you to do A, you would want to do B. So the conflict will start and you will feel frustrated. The initial couple of years, you should invest in listening, what people are doing, observe, listen, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And third, foremost important thing, please ask questions. Be curious, be stupid, be unapologetically keep asking. Whatever you feel, keep asking. Ye kyun karna hai? Every process that is there in the organization has a reason. A lot of time people come and ask, what is UAR? A lot of people don't even know the full forms. So, when I started my journey, I had a very tough time asking people, yeah, aisa kyun hai? And people themselves were not aware कि ऐसा क्यों है. That used to piss me a lot. And I realized that the journey become very faster when you have a habit of asking questions. They feel piece of the questions that you ask you, but it makes you damn way more smarter than the people in the lot you're competing with. So these three things, if you're asking and if you're entering in the journey, because you the similar trait you will showcase with the client you're sitting. Of course, nobody is going to give you an initial platter के जाओ किसी client से जाके मिल लो तुम्हारा first year है. No, it's not happening in the real world of sales. You always go with your mentors. You fix the meetings. You pick up the calls. You call them. How are you talking also plays very important. um, I mean, I don't want to demean because I've been there, but have you ever picked up a call and sir आपको एक credit card चाहिए? कुछ नहीं चाहिए यार, please phone रख दो.
Mm.
So it really plays important that how are you speaking? What is your pitch? You know your tone. Where is high? Where is low? Working with your voice is very important. Salespeople need to have a kind of voice which is very something people want to hear.
Pleasant.
It's really important. Trust me, it is really, really important. Otherwise, people picking up your phone will immediately drop them down.
Nice.
If you have too bad, too heavy, too husky, too light, becomes too dark for you. And this is not something which is trainable because I am the example in front. I had a very bad one.
Uh, Correct. I think all of this is making sense. And there is one more thing, like people generally think like they need to have a very good profile, either over LinkedIn or any other platform. Do you think it matters? Or at some extent, does it matters?
Uh, Utkarsh, maybe in the initials, because my son is very soon he'll be entering in the professional world. And I tell him the same thing that please build your LinkedIn. It is very much like you're building your Instagram. So if you want your Instagram to be handy, smarty, people scrutinize, right? Have you been to any of the parties where people give you invite based on your profiles?
Mm.
So similarly, it's like LinkedIn. So in the professional world, they don't know you. So you want to keep certain things in the LinkedIn which are professionally as an acknowledged working in your favor. One. So building it early really helps. If you, for an example, you became 23, 24, now all of a sudden you remember, because it's a process. You cannot build your LinkedIn in 2 days. It's a very authentic profile building kind of a stuff. So yes, you have a very valid point that building your LinkedIn, irrespective whichever profile, I'm not talking about sales, anything, because I've never been a salesperson from the starting. The initial areas I did not know when I was a programmer that LinkedIn is that important, because we usually sit at the back. You don't have any requirement when you're in the back office operation or into development. You feel क्या जरूरत है यार, कौन जान रहा है मुझे. But trust me, कोई आपको जानता है नहीं जानता है. Having your personal brands play a very vital
Mm.
in your favor. People know you as a human. A lot of unasked question, cultural question, because from coding to corporate sales is not an easy journey for me. You go through a lot of biases, the motherhood challenges, the moments of your self doubt, the juggle between your ambition, because a lot of time people don't look at ambitions as a very great thing also, though it's a very powerful tool to keep you motivated and ensure that you keep going. So to keep all this fuel, you need to have a place where you actually speak or put something which is in your mind all the time. LinkedIn can be one tool for you. It's a very beautiful tool that can help you build your own professional background as a wonderful storyline for your own self. It can help you build your brand. And the only way, or a simple way, because it's a long process, I have given n number of classes to people. How can you build? And I'm very selective with, a lot of time people flaunt. I have 1 lakh
Mhm.
users, followers. That's not needed, buddy. It's really not needed. You need few amazing right people who are of your community and you know them well, or probably they can help you elevate or boost. Because having 1 lakh people who are not very adding value to your profiles may not really help you, because after a certain point even LinkedIn doesn't allow you to join the people. So what will happen to a young workforce you're joining in? You're absolutely losing on the maximum. So be very choosy what you're doing, but be very careful, because it's important. Please, it is very important. So start early, build your brand, Be very authentic. Build your brand cannot be, because anything which is not authentic will not serve you in the longer purpose. You will be visibly exposed if it is not original, because
Yeah.
we cannot mask our profiles or our behaviors in the longer run. So please speak. Even, and there is no harm in saying that I am a jolly person. I like to do this, that, because being your authentic self always pay you well.
Mhm.
And you don't have to fit in. The most important thing. Try. Go and try. Build your brand the way you like it.
Right. And talking about everything that you shared, if there is any one story that you like to share from either your personal or professional life.
Uh, I think I have so many stories to share, but yes, if I have to share one,
Mhm.
you never give up on your dreams. I still remember coming from a tier two city, and from as a very young girl looking at a dream of, we all have a role models, Utkarsh. We all have a role model. So usually girls have role models as their mother. Of course, I had partially, but I had a role model as my father. So the challenge of females having a role model as a father is you want to hustle and be like them. You just see them as, oh, this is what I want to do. And my father, so the story comes in here when my father used to come from his travels, and a pocket full of chocolate, because back in that time I remember the travels were very heavy and my father used to take air travel. I'm talking about 80s, from that time. So in 80s, Air India would offer a lot of handful of chocolates and people would fill their pockets of those chocolates. My father will always enter in the house after 2 3 days of a visit, and I'll run like a baby to hug him, and he will offer me a chocolate and I would feel loved. एंड ही विल जस्ट से मी वन थिंग, एक दिन ना तुम भी ऐसे ही जाओगी और बहुत अच्छा सा काम करके आओगी, तब तुम्हें मुझसे चॉकलेट नहीं लेनी पड़ेगी. दैट वन स्टोरी, आई डोंट नो वेयर, stayed with me till date. I never gave up on the dreams. One should never give up on the dreams that you are living in. So the story that you asked me is very simple. If you have seen something which you want to do, please go ahead, because the fights, the juggles, because during my motherhood I still remember going for my master's examinations, leaving my child behind for a 3 hours, and the child who was 4 months, so was not an easy thing. So back in your mind keep on telling that, okay, the kid must not be the happy one, I'm being very selfish, I'm not doing it correct, those skills. So you just have to bear with all those things, you have to learn it out, you have to, everything will pass, just have to keep yourself alive. And yeah, I mean, I still remember one of the deal when I was going through, the suffering was so heavy, I just closed my eyes and said, is it worth, I am really putting the effort enough, do I want to lose it? And the all the efforts that I told you, all the dreams that I told you was stuck in my mind, sitting in front of that client. Can I leave it, or I should give a best deal? Am I giving my 100%? I literally struck with the leaders that, okay, I want to win this, I want to fight for it. Give me the real margins that we want to set in, and I want to give a try. I take a risk of going ahead with it. So please take a calculative risk for yourself. Trust your own things. And yes, the story building will automatically follow in, because if you ask me, I have 10 different stories that I can share. So, but yeah, the gist is, please do not give up on your dreams and take risk.
That's nice. And talking about dreams, so what is your dream right now at this point?
Every now and then I realized, after this age group I realized, and of course it's not that heavy, but still at this age group I realized that every decade the dream is different. When I started as a early 20-year girl, my dream was to have a beautiful family, then to have a wonderful space in my own community of developers, then to ensure that a decent space where I am not out of the market, this fight of surviving, then definitely not losing my identity. That became the dream, that okay, I don't want to leave my identity, I want to be myself at whatever junction or point of life I am in. And if you ask today, the dream is to ensure that I influence the people, especially the females. Though we have enough influential females today, I really admire a lot of leaders. Even our LinkedIn's are full of some of them whom I admire. So, but still, I want to influence the people, the generation to do not give up on their dreams. I want to make them feel comfortable that they are heard and they're not something that whatever struggles they do go through are going alone. And I want to influence them with the thought that whatever you have dreamt of is definitely worth. So if somebody with a lot of struggles can do it, you can also do it. It's just you have to navigate your own path. You don't have to listen to the odds that people are showcasing you. So my dream is very simple. I want these females to do not give up and choose either. Of course, we cannot have it all. Something you will lose for some time. When I was giving exams, I missed on my child timings.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're not missing it. Everything will come at the other, but do not give up on either. You will have the share of important things in your life. Keep doing the stuff. So this is the dream I'm having in today's world.
Really nice. I think that's the best point to end this interview as well. So thank you so much,
You.
Aparna, for joining. It was really insightful for me as well to know your journey and learn from your journey as well. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Utkarsh, for letting me talk to the world in the larger forum and make them understand that what is important for an individual of this world called Aparna Mishra. And how I am not sure it's going to listen or probably it's reaching to whom, but whomsoever it is, even if I can change a one person or help them understand that why it is important for them, I'll be very happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.